I see this quite often when I'm coaching guys in field. A guy will go in, open a girl stack, get a topic, tell a story or tease about the topic, and then he will leave the set, come back and say, well, she didn't hook. She wasn't supposed to be hooked yet. She isn't supposed to like you just because you opened her. I see this all the time, so let's talk about how to use stacking, teasing, and storytelling to make her attracted enough to reach the hook point. I'm St. Robert, and for the last more than 4 years, I've been teaching guys about day game and dating, and I've been working with guys from literally all over the world, from Asia to Europe, from US to Latin America. But because over the last years my infill coaching schedule has become very busy and guys very often have to wait around 2 months to get a spot, I wanted to create a way to learn day game in a way that is much simpler and cheaper. And this video is actually partially for the guys going through the program I recently launched, but more on that at the end of this video. So you saw a girl, you open her, you use the pre-opener and opener, you use the stack that you know works because you've tested it 20 times before and it has gotten you good results. And if this, by the way, is not the case, then reaching a hook point is not your problem. You're making a bunch of other mistakes. Then don't start with this video, watch this playlist instead. But you've been around for a while and you've learned that the best way to learn day game is to use stacks that you've tested a bunch of times. And let's say you use one of the overused, extremely popular stacks. You say after your opener, you say, what I noticed about you, you looked so relaxed. I thought you're coming from a yoga session or you just smoked some weed. She gives you a topic. She says, oh no, I was just shopping. Wonderful. Now you have a topic and you can go into storytelling. I might say something like, oh my God, you're one of those girls. I know one of my exes was like that. She just loved going shopping, always buying more and more stuff. But the weird thing was a lot of the stuff she bought, she didn't even wear. She didn't even take it out of the boxes. And I remember those shopping bags still in a closet, even unpacked. That must be you sometimes. And this girl might say, yes, that's me, or no, I'm not like that. And then a new day gamer, seeing that she isn't investing, she isn't asking any questions after this wonderful stack and after this amazing story, he leaves the set, he comes back to me, and the attitude is, she didn't hook, bro. Well, she wasn't supposed to be hooked yet. She wasn't supposed to be interested in you yet. Guys very often do one nice stack, one nice story, or like a really nice tease, and then they just think, well, she didn't ask me any questions, she wasn't hooked, the conversation wasn't flowing, so I just left the set. If you're doing that, then you are actually focusing on the girls who like you from the beginning of the set. They just like you because you opened them, maybe because you did that one tease, one story. But very often you will have to work pretty hard for 2, maybe even 3 minutes with all your best attraction material to make her attracted enough to flip her around, so to say, and make her hooked. And then once that happens, all of a sudden she is interested, she's asking questions, and the conversation is flowing. So what do you do in a scenario like we just discussed, where she just says yes, no, and there isn't really much going on with that conversation? Well, you go into the next stack. You take another stack that you know has worked so well for you. You just say, oh, by the way, you don't look like a typical whatever Polish girl, you must be French or Italian. You do another stack. She gives you another topic. She says, well, I'm Swedish. Boom, you go into storytelling about how you went to Sweden and what happened there. I've done several videos about storytelling, so you should know how to do that. And now you've covered the second topic. You had the second stack, second topic, second story. And why do we storytell? We storytell to make her open up, to tell her more about how it is to live in Sweden, why did she come here, or whatever. But she still doesn't do it. What do? Well, you guessed it, we do one more stack. I would say always try to do 3 stacks. If a girl isn't giving you much with the first 2 topics, get one more topic, try teasing a little bit more, try storytelling more, try working more and more and more. And maybe after the 3rd stack, after the 3rd topic, she becomes more interested and starts asking you questions. Of course, not always when a girl doesn't ask you questions, it means that she's not hooked, that she's not interested. There are other ways to know if a girl is hooked, if she's interested in you. I've done a separate video, 6 signs of the hook point, so you can watch it by clicking the link here. Sometimes she isn't asking you questions, but she's doing many other things where you can assume she is hooked. Maybe she puts her bag on the ground, maybe she takes a cigarette, starts smoking, maybe she crosses her legs. And if she does, I would say, more than one of those things, then again, you can assume she is hooked even when she doesn't ask you a question. There are several reasons a girl might not ask you a question even when she is interested. First, there are some countries where girls just don't ask that many questions. Instead, for example, I learned Daygame in the beginning in Riga, Latvia, and it was fairly common there for girls not to ask any questions even when they were interested in me. And the second reason is language barrier. Maybe you're daygaming in a place where a girl doesn't speak that well. I mean, I assume you'll be daygaming in English. She doesn't speak good English. She understands you. She can have a super basic conversation, but maybe for her to ask you a question would be super difficult. So she just prefers to answer your questions, to kind of follow your lead, but she isn't asking you anything back and she isn't investing very much in the conversation. If there is a big language barrier, you have to look at other signs of the hook point. Maybe she is already hooked. And in those cases, if you have done 3 stacks, worked with at least 2 topics, you can actually assume she is hooked if she's not leaving the set and she's answering your questions. And you can go from stacking storytelling to things we do after the hook point, because Daygame before and after the hook point, those are 2 very, very different things. So you can go into questions. You can simply ask her questions about her. You can ground by telling something more about yourself. Again, all of that has been covered in the structured natural approach video series. And another simple thing you can do if you're not really sure whether she's hooked or not, you can try to throwing her a bait and see if she takes a bait. Create a scenario where a girl who is hooked, who is interested in you, will react in one way. A girl who is not interested in you will react in a different way. It is very easy to do, and I talk about that in a video about fishing for the hook point. Again, click here to watch it. One big warning when you are fishing for the hook point: do not use this as an excuse to just force girls into asking you questions. Those are forced hook points, they're fake hook points, and in those cases, even though a girl asked you a question, she might not be interested. So only fish for the hook point after you've done all of your work, after you've done all the stacking and all the teasing and all the storytelling. And if then she is still there, she is not leaving, but she's not asking you any questions, and you're really not sure is she hooked or not, then you can fish for the hook point. And the last thing I wanna tell you about working on the hook point, and this is more for intermediate daygamers, and that's why I will tell you what to do, but I will not give you examples. If you're intermediate, you understand this. If you're not, you will understand this later. So if you did your first basic story or teasing and it didn't work, you did your second story, second teasing, and it didn't work, what you can try for your third tease or third story: go hardcore. Try to tease in a way that's a little bit too much, that's a little bit too crazy. Sometimes that will really work, and that will make her interested, and that will make her hooked. And you know, there's nothing to lose at this point. She will just leave the set. So yes, if nothing works, try a real hardcore tease. I actually did this a few days ago here in Buenos Aires, Argentina, when coaching a student. I was doing a demo for a student, and one of the stacks was about what she does for a living. So I tried to go in for the serious, I tried to go for the creative. And then when she wasn't giving me anything, I said, aha, I know, you must be a stripper. And she laughed, I laughed, everybody laughed, everyone was happy. There was a hook point, there was a number close, number flaked, I cried, I'll never daygame again, I'm quitting my job, I'm becoming a life coach, fuck daygame. Well, and now with all the jokes aside, I promised that I would tell you at the end of the video about the online group coaching program I recently started to help guys learn Daygame in a way that is simpler and cheaper than infield coaching. There are a few very big problems with infield coaching. Most importantly, the fact that the guy goes out with a coach and is able to approach a lot and do well while coach is next to him doesn't mean he will perform just as well on his own. So it's very important for guys to actually be able to go out on their own. And to solve that, I've created a 12-week long online group coaching program where, well, guys are going out consistently, and not only they are being accountable about doing that, they also each week get a video from me telling them exactly what to focus on that week. When you're learning Daygame, there are so many things to focus on, but usually there is like one, maybe two, maybe three things, and if you fix them, everything else in your sets will improve. So every week I send guys a video explaining the topic of the week and how exactly they should implement it that week. And then they have weekly group coaching calls where they are staying accountable and discussing the homeworks, discussing the topic for the week, and they get answers to any other Daygame questions they have. So far, the results guys we're getting in this program were way better than I expected. We are already launching the third group in a few weeks. That's almost full. So if you are interested in finding more about it, then watch this video about 3 problems with Daygame infield coaching. And if you are a Daygamer who is actually going out and taking a lot of action, you're getting numbers, but you're struggling with texting and you're struggling with what to do on dates, then I have several free texting and dating courses on daygamecourses.com. Go there, sign up, watch them. I created them years ago. The production quality is complete shit, but the content is good and it has proven to be effective for many, many guys. Well, that's it for this time. Good luck out there, guys, and see you in the next video.